In 1942, Nazi saboteurs took a submarine and made it to the beaches of Long Island, and they were plotting something. Fortunately, John Cullen, who worked for the Coast Guard, was walking along the beach and suspected suspicious activity, and he managed to be part of stopping this plot, which would have become a catastrophe. They were planning to bomb different places in New York City. And, there's crazy things going on in the world today. There's plenty of reasons for people to feel anxious and fearful. There's the war in Iran. There's shootings at universities and bombings in synagogues. There's a rise in anti-Semitism, a rise in Islamophobia, in rhetoric. And there's all kinds of things going on in the world that gives people plenty of reasons to be fearful and afraid. But today, I want to encourage us to understand and to realize that we can tune in to the presence and power within us, and we don't have to get stuck in fear. We don't have to get stuck in anxiety. And one of the greatest prayers in the Bible that can help us develop a consciousness of God is the 91st Psalm. And the first verse of the 91st Psalm is, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." Now, the secret place of the Most High is not a place on the map. It's not a church. It's not a synagogue. It's not a mosque. It's not a sacred structure. It's within you. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. That's the secret place that we can go into and tune into. The psalmist said, "Be still and know." And that's what we're talking about, learning to get still. Now, it says that when you dwell in that place, abide in that place, that's when you're under its shelter. So abiding is more than reading a book about spirituality. It's more than taking time occasionally to pray. It's more than once in a while listening to a spiritual podcast. Abiding, dwelling, is making God part of your thought process throughout the day. It's taking time regularly through prayer and meditation to tune in. And it's thinking about spirit when you're in the kitchen, when you're on the subway, when you're traveling, when you're about to make a sales call, or whatever you're doing, or giving a speech. It's remembering God, remembering spirit. That's abiding. And then it has this beautiful image of, "You shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." That language was very important for the people in ancient times in the Middle East, because they were living in the hot sun of the desert. When you're in the hot sun of the desert, what do you want more than anything? You want shade. You want shelter. It's in shade, it's in shelter that you find renewal, rest, protection. And so we're promised abiding, tuning into spirit, and you're going to find wisdom and strength and guidance in these difficult times. You're going to be able to live in peace no matter what's going on. And that is a great promise. That secret place is within you. Verse 2 says, "I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust." A refuge is a place that you can go to be renewed. Refuge is a place where you can go when you're overwhelmed by the news, by what you're hearing and seeing that's going on in your life. A refuge is a place you can go to get rest and be uplifted and strengthened. God is the fortress, it says. A fortress is a place of strength and power. "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles." That's the secret place. And having trust in God doesn't mean you never feel fear. You may feel fear. We will feel fear at times. And that doesn't mean you can't still act. You can't still know that God is with you. Desmond Tutu, who was dealt with the evils of apartheid, he said that he had many threats and he felt fear, but through his trust in God, he was able to still take action, to still move forward and do what he needed to do. And so the truth, that's what's true for you and me. Trusting in God and still moving forward. Verse 3-4 basically is saying that God will deliver us from the snare of the fowler and from noisome pestilence. What that means is the snare of the fowler are traps, are hidden dangers. Pestilence is invisible danger that can spread and overtake us. So by tuning into Spirit, you can receive guidance and wisdom to make choices. When you're tempted to do something that's not in your best interest, when you pray about it, when you tune into Spirit, then you're guided to do what's for your best. And that's what we're talking about. Lock your doors and trust the presence. It doesn't mean throwing out common sense, but it means trusting the activity of God working through you. He says, His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. His truth. It's one thing to know about truth. It's another thing to know the truth. Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. A lot of people are overread and underdone. In other words, they read books, they listen to talks, but they haven't really taken time to be still, to apply the teachings in their life so that they know the truths that they're learning. Learning is the first step. Knowing is what we want to get to. And then verses 5-6. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. The arrow that flies by day are the challenges that we're aware of. You're aware of the wars going on. You're aware of a financial challenge. You're aware of a physical illness or challenge that you're facing. These are the things that we face by day. And by night, the terrors by night are the unseen dangers. It's maybe someone is plotting against us. Maybe there's negative gossip happening that you're not aware of, and or maybe it's something that surfaces that you can't even anticipate. Years ago, I was driving home from visiting family in Virginia, headed back to New York City, and it was raining hard, and I was on the New Jersey Turnpike. And all of a sudden, across the dashboard was a warning I had never seen before. And suddenly, I lost complete control of the car. On my right was a concrete barrier. In front of me was an 18-wheeler. And all of a sudden, the car began to swerve left, and I turned the steering wheel, and then it would swerve right, and I turned the steering wheel left. And after a number of times of doing this, then the wheels caught the highway, the car straightened up, and I was able to gain control again. And boy, I was like, whoo, that was a dangerous situation. But you know what? I was able to remain calm and take the action necessary. And I believe it's from daily prayer and meditation and making God part of my life that I was able to know what to do in that situation. And you can do the same. By living, abiding in the presence, you can be able to tune in to whatever it is that you need to do. The Bhagavad Gita says, a little practice of this inward religion will free you from dire fears and colossal sufferings. Verses 7-10 talk about thousands falling by your side, but it shall not come nigh unto thee. A deeper understanding of this verse is that nothing can touch you in there. Nothing can touch the spiritual being that you are, right? You're not your body, you're not your mind, you're not your emotions. No matter what happens to your mind or your body, you in there are untouchable because you in there are a spiritual being. You're one with God, which is eternal. That's the real you. And so that's one of the promises of this. And we need to realize that God doesn't play favorites. Our prayers don't cause God to favor us, but really it's all about consciousness, developing a consciousness of God so that we are in tune with that which we need to do, that which we need to know. And then we attract into our lives experiences that we can learn and grow through. See, the key is attuning ourselves with the law of God. E. Stanley Jones shared an experience he had. He was walking amidst the ruins of ancient Babylon, and he came across a little beautiful flower growing, and it was as if he was having a conversation with this flower. How is it that you, so delicate and fragile, are still here where ancient Babylon, which was powerful, is no longer exists? And it was as if the flower communicated to him, saying, it's because I obeyed the laws of God within myself, which is why I live. Babylon did not listen to the laws or obey them, and that's why they perished. And so it's about developing consciousness. Verses 9 and 10 talk about God being the refuge and that no evil will befall thee. No plague will touch you. Again, the truth is you're a spiritual being and your life is in God. Nothing can touch that. And then verses 11 and 12 say, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Angels in the Bible represent your intuition, your inner guidance. Gavin DeBecker, who is a security expert, he's worked with celebrities and all kinds of people, he says your intuition is your best protection. Intuition comes from the word tuere, to protect. We need to learn how to listen to that intuition when it warns us. Have you ever heard your intuition and then you ignored it? The results probably were not as good as they could have been. So learning to listen to the angel of guidance. When it says, don't go. When it says, wait. When it says, make that call. When it says, take that action. We are here to try to learn to listen. Joseph Campbell said, technology is not going to save us. Our computers, our tools, our machines are not enough. We have to rely on our intuition, our true being. Verse 13 talks about treading upon the lion and the adder. And also that the dragon shalt thou trample under feet. How many dragons have you seen in your life lately? Some of you have some dragons, I'm sure. The lion represents obvious danger, and the adder represents hidden dangers. Now, we've got to use common sense, right? I've told people in the past, you might, if you're so peaceful that you can stand in front of a lion and it will roll on its back like a pussycat, great. But if you don't have that consciousness, do not stand in front of a lion because you'll end up in his stomach. We got to use common sense. This is about tuning in to the wisdom within us, the strength within us, and taking action that's guided. It's not throwing common sense out the window. Years ago, when I was a minister in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, Hilton Head, during a certain time of year, there's a lot of sharks that flow through the water. And this woman once asked me, she said, Justin, I love to swim. How do I feel safe in the water when there's sharks out there? And I gave her a very mystical, metaphysical answer. I said, don't go in the water. Now that's my bias, of course. You can swim in the water if you want to, but we got to use common sense, right? Use our common sense. So verse 14 talks about setting his love upon me, upon God, and knowing God's nature, knowing God's name. Name represents nature in the Bible. How do you love God, and how do you know God's nature? You love God by giving your attention to God. You love God through prayer. You love God by incorporating Spirit throughout everything you're doing. And God's nature is knowing that God is life, God is love, God is wisdom, God is power, God is all good. Taking time to be still and know that. Taking time to think about God's nature in your life. That's how we can be in tune with that presence and make choices that help keep us safe and enable us to thrive in life. And then the last verses 15 to 16, he shall call upon me and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. Now notice it says that I will be with him in trouble. The 91st Psalm does not promise you that you're not going to have any trouble. But the promise is, I will be with him in trouble. God will be with you, is with you in sadness. God is with you in confusion. God is with you in illness. God is with you in financial difficulties. God is with you no matter what you face. Lo, I am with you always. And that is the promise. You in there are a spiritual being. Your life is in God. Years ago, when I was working with Eric Butterworth during the time of September 11th, not long after, I held groups where people could share what was going on with them, what was on their mind. And someone said something that I'll always remember. She said, I'd been full of fear and anxiety about my life. Then one day I realized that I'm a spiritual being and that life is with me forever because I'm a being of life. This soul will go on no matter what happens to this physical body. Then she said, who knows? This moment could be my last. Do I want to spend the last moment of my life in fear? Of course not. I'm going to choose life. I'm going to choose faith. I'm going to choose love. I'm going to let my light shine. And that is the message of Psalm 91. Be in tune. Go into that secret place. And as it says that when you tune into that presence of God within, you'll find refuge. And it says, for he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. And so it is. Amen.